I welcome all the viewers to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. If you're interested in watching boring history in a new way, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like and share it too. You're here now, and everything else can wait. Let the weight of the day softly melt from your shoulders. Let your thoughts float like papyrus boats on calm water. You're safe here. You're calm. There's nothing else you need to do but rest. Breathe in through your nose, nice and slow, and breathe out through your mouth, even slower. Feel your body sinking, gently, into stillness. Maybe your toes feel heavy, or light. Either way, that's perfectly fine. Let your breath become a rhythm, like the steady lap of the Nile against the banks, a sound older than memory, older than the stars. Now, our story begins. Our story today begins on the edge of the ancient world, in the warm, golden heart of Kemetwat, we now call Egypt. It is the year 1320 BCE. The sands have no hurry, the sun rises slowly, and everything moves gently. It is just past dawn in the village of Pebastet, a small cluster of mud brick homes near the delta. The air is warm, but not hot yet, still wrapped in the blue hush of early morning. The Nile glistens like polished copper in the distance. A rooster crows once, then falls silent. Inside a humble home with straw thatching and whitewashed walls, a mother is already awake. Her name is Hennet. She wears a loose linen dress, tied at the waist with a simple reed cord. On her head, she balances a clay pot of water, collected just minutes ago from the well. The pot is cool, heavy, but she walks easily, her feet bare, her stride silent over packed earth. Outside, the sky is beginning to stretch, the color of soft apricot and honey. Her son Kepa still sleeps in the corner of their one-room home, nestled beneath a mat made from woven rushes. A clay cat figurine watches from the window ledge. Not magical, just a toy, but it'd been there so long, it almost feels alive. The sounds of the village begin to bloom, a wooden pestle grinding grain, goats bleating lazily, a baby crying, then being hushed again. But everything stays slow, deliberate, quiet. There are no clocks, only the sun and the rhythm of living. Today, like most days, is remarkably ordinary, so gently, boringly ordinary. Hennet sprinkles grain onto a flat stone. She begins to grind it into flour, her hands making soft, circular motions. This is ema wheat, a staple crop in ancient Egypt, slightly nutty in taste, coarse in texture. The chaff drifts like fine dust in the morning light. She hums as she works, barely above a whisper, a song she learned from her own mother, who learned it from hers. And so, the bread of the day begins. Farther down the lane, an older man, Jehuti, the village scribe, sits beneath a fig tree with a reed brush and a roll of papyrus. He's not in a rush. He never is. He's recording taxes, harvest logs, grain counts, which fields were planted with barley and which ones still need to be turned by oxen. Every so often, he dips his reed pen in ink, a thick, earthy black made from soot and water, and draws a neat hieroglyph. Then another, and another. Beside him sits a small clay bowl of lentils, long since cooled. But he hasn't eaten yet, because the numbers must come first. A gentle breeze wanders down the alley. It carries with it the smell of date palms, sun-warmed earth, and the faintest hint of incense from the nearby temple. There, a priest is lighting cones of kifi, a sacred blend of myrrh, honey, and wine-soaked herbs. It was believed to calm the spirit, invite good dreams, and lull the gods themselves into restful smiles. The smoke curls slowly, sweetly, rising like silk from stone. A cat purrs nearby, lazing on a shaded step. In ancient Egypt, cats were not only beloved, they were sacred protectors of grain stores, and silent companions to gods and peasants alike. The day unfolds. Kepa, now awake, helps his mother knead the bread dough. He presses with small palms, spreads the flour with awkward fingers. He yawns. It's his turn to carry the basket of onions to the neighbor. Yes, onions, just that. But it matters because neighbors share what they can, and onions, spicy, pungent, packed with flavor, are a treasure to a cook. Kepa walks slowly, dragging his feet a little. Dust clings to his ankles. He stops to watch a dung beetle roll its prize down the road. He laughs softly. Nothing urgent, nothing grand, just a boy in a village, doing his part. Far beyond the rooftops, boats drift down the Nile. These are feluccas sailboats made of wood and linen. They float silently past reeds and crocodile eyes, carrying baskets of fish, bundles of flax, and gossip from neighboring towns. The sail flutters once, twice, then stills. The captain dozes. A heron lifts from the bank, and all is calm again. You are floating, too, drifting like a papyrus scroll unrolling in the wind, wrapped in sunlight and quiet, held gently in time. In this world, there is no rush, no noise, no urgency, only the slow rhythm of life as it once was. Beautifully, ancient dot, let your breath follow that rhythm. Let your body melt like beeswax in the sun. You are part of the story now, and the story is going nowhere fast. Asterisk now. The village stirs in full. The sun, rising higher above the horizon, casts golden light across flat rooftops and dusty courtyards. You can hear the low murmur of voices, not loud, never rushed, the gentle rhythm of neighbors greeting one another, the same way they've done for generations. A woman named Merit opens a sealed jar of honey. Her family keeps bees in woven clay hives tucked into the garden wall. Today, she plans to trade with the potter honey for a new water jug. She dips a reed spoon into the thick amber and smiles, watching it trail slowly into a small clay bowl. Honey was precious here, one of the few sweet things. The Egyptians called it nectar of the gods. She walks barefoot across the courtyard, not because she must, but because it feels right. The sand is warm beneath her toes. Her pace is slow. Everyone's is. There's no rush, and in the quiet rhythm of ordinary life, there is peace. Farther, down a narrow lane, a man named Horemheb sits beneath the tamarisk tree, repairing a fishing net. His fingers are skilled, patient, weathered by years of work. The net is made from flax fibers, twisted and tied by hand, over and over. It catches more than fish. It holds a way of life. As he weaves, he hums a tune that his grandfather used to sing low and slow, like a song meant only for the water to hear. The Nile always hears, even if it never answers. In Egypt, the river is not just a place. It is a heartbeat. Every year, the Nile rises and floods the fields, leaving behind dark, fertile soil. They don't call it a miracle. They call it normal. They wait for it. They trust it. Life here depends on patience. Near the edge of the village, the scent of baking bread drifts on the breeze. Hennet's outdoor clay oven stands beside the house, hot and glowing with fire. The dough she kneaded this morning now browns on the flat stone surface, rising slowly, crusts forming. She wipes flour from her hands and watches as her son Kepa peeks at the loaves. He's not waiting for a feast, just a corner crust warm from the fire. He smiles and yawns as he chews a fig while watching the smoke twist into the air. The day is long, but there's nothing urgent in it. That, too, is part of the rhythm. He'll soon carry a bundle of onions to their neighbor, just a few steps away. It's not a chore, it's a kindness. In ancient villages, food was passed along with stories, with smiles, with time. The path is dry beneath Kepa's feet. He walks slowly, dragging his toes through the dust, stopping now and then to poke a stick into the ground, or to watch a beetle roll a ball of mud toward a shady crack in the wall. He crouches beside it, wondering where it's going, and whether it knows. Then he stands again and keeps walking, his basket swinging gently in his hand. Two women sit nearby on woven mats beneath a fig tree. They twist dried palm fronds into tight coils, weaving baskets for grain and garlic. One wears a wide straw hat that shields her face from the sun. The other hums as she works. Their hands move slowly, repeating a pattern older than writing. They speak in low voices, passing the time with simple conversation. Who married whom? Whether the temple priest tripped over his robe again, and if the last flood left behind good clay. Nothing urgent, nothing loud, just the soft, steady rhythm of companionship. A dog naps in the shade beside them. Its tail twitches now and then. It opens one eye and looks around, then sighs and rests its chin on its paws again. Even animals understand that here, rest is sacred. In the temple courtyard, pigeons shuffle quietly across the warm stone. Columns carved with lotus flowers cast long shadows, and the air smells of incense. A priest lights a stick of Kifian, ancient mixture of honey, myrrh, wine, and sweet herbs. The smoke rises slowly into the sunlight, curling like a dream, drifting toward the sky. Inside the sanctuary, a shallow bowl of scented oil rests beside a statue of Hathor. It isn't meant for ceremony today. It simply waits. like everything else later, someone will return and place fresh flowers beside it. But not yet. On the river, a small wooden boat drifts past the fields. Its sail catches the breeze, flutters once, and settles. A man reclines in the shade of the canopy, chewing lotus root. He watches a bird trace wide circles in the sky, its wings outstretched, motionless. Some say birds carry messages from the gods, others just enjoy their silence. The boat floats past reeds and lilies, past crocodiles dozing in shallow water, past empty fishing nets left to dry on poles. It does not hurry. The river decides the speed. Back in the village, Kepa has returned, his basket now empty, his hands sticky with the honeyed treat the neighbor gave him in return. He sits beside his mother again and lays his head in her lap. She has begun shaping tiny amulets from red and blue clay. Her fingers move carefully, molding eyes, feathers, and anks. These will be traded later at the market, but there is no deadline. The sun is still high, the wind is still soft. Everything will wait. A shadow crosses the wall, a bird calls and then falls quiet. Somewhere, a pot cracks slightly as it cools. Someone sings, a child laughs, a bowl tips, a broom sweeps. The day continues, just as it always has, quiet, steady, ancient, and you are part of it. By mid, the sky is pale and bright. The heat has settled across the village like a blanket, thick, still, and quiet. Even the birds have stopped singing. In the shade of the wall, a woman fans herself, slowly with a folded reed mat. Her daughter naps beside her, curled against a worn basket filled with lentils. The only sound is the occasional pop of a clay pot cooling beside the fire. Shadows shrink under the sun. This is the hottest part of the day when life becomes slower. Still, most people stay indoors or rest beneath shaded cloths strung between rooftops. A silence falls over the village, soft as sand. It is a silence made not of absence, but of patience. The village granary sits at the far end of the lane, a domed structure of thick mud brick, its walls cool to the touch. Inside, sacks of grain are lined up like sleeping animals, tied tightly at the neck and labeled with faded red markings. Two young men sit outside the entrance, each with a notched stick. They count deliveries as farmers arrive, marking every sack with a tap of the stick against their palm. This method, simple and ancient, keeps the tally true. Nothing is written today, but the numbers are kept. Because in Egypt, grain is more than food. It is currency, security, and the future. Near the riverbank, a group of children splash in a shallow pool. Their laughter soft and scattered like bird calls. They kick up clouds of muddy water and wave at fishermen who drift past in red canoes. One of the canoes carries clay pots packed with fish, stored beneath wet palm fronds to keep them cool. The fisherman nods to the children, then pulls his net in with slow, steady hands. The river smells of earth and life. Its scent is thick with water lilies, fish scales, and reeds. Not unpleasant, just ancient. A smell unchanged for centuries. A smell that tells the body, here is where life happens. On the far side of the bank, a woman bends to wash a tunic in the shallows. She slaps it gently against the rocks, rinses it with care, and lays it over a sun-warmed boulder to dry. Behind her, a cluster of ducks trails through the weeds. Their heads bob, their wings flutter. They are not afraid. They live here, too, and they know the humans won't bother them. As the sun begins its slow descent, light stretches long and golden across the rooftops. Hennet stirs lentils in a deep pot over the fire. She adds dried garlic, a pinch of salt, and a cracked barley grain. The smell is soft and rich. Kepa, still drowsy from his nap, sits nearby on a low stool and watches her work. He has a wooden toy, a small figure on wheels, carved to look like a lion. He rolls it back and forth across the floor, sometimes making a growl sound under his breath, but mostly just listening to the bubbling stew. Their home is simple, just one room, with woven mats for sleeping, a few shelves of clay jars, and an old oil lamp that flickers quietly when the wind breathes through the window. But to Kepa, this house is everything. It is where the food smells live, where the walls hold warmth, where the days stretch out, without rush. Outside, the old scribe Jehuti finishes his writing for the day. He places his reed pen beside the ink block, rolls the papyrus carefully, and ties it with string. He stretches slowly, his back aching in that familiar, quiet way, not painful, just known. He walks to the edge of his porch and leans against the wall. From here, he sees almost the whole village. He sees children gathering, pebbles, women carrying water, the temple in the distance, the Nile shimmering in the evening light. He smiles. It's not a grand life, not filled with adventure or treasures, but it is good, it is steady. And in that steadiness, there is peace. In a corner of the village, an old woman sits with her loom. Her fingers move with practiced ease, passing the shuttle back and forth, weaving threads of red and brown into a wide linen cloth. She hums a lullaby she used to sing to her children, now grown and gone to cities farther south. The sound is barely louder than the whisper of wind, but it fills the courtyard like a memory. She pauses to sip water from a clay cup, then touches the fabric and smiles. This piece is for the temple, a gift, not for any occasion, just because. It is time to give something. In ancient Egypt, offerings weren't always about gold or cattle. Sometimes they were simple things: cloth, bread, oil, words, and those offerings were enough. As the sky shifts from gold to deep orange and then to purple at the edges, the first star appears, bright and silent, just above the temple roof. It might be Sopdet, the star the Egyptians called the soul of the Nile. It marks the coming of the flood season. It tells the people that the earth will soon drink deeply again. One by one, other stars appear. The night unfolds slowly, like a scroll of silver across the sky. Fires are lit, doors are closed, and the day, though it moved so slowly, has found its end. But nothing feels finished, only paused, only resting. Inside Hennet's home, the oil lamp flickers gently, casting golden light on the walls. Kepper is curled in his mat, his toy lion beside him. His eyes are half closed, and his breathing is soft. Hennet strokes his hair once, then rises to finish the last of the dishes. A quiet clink of pottery, a splash of water, the faintest sound of her breath. In every home, families settle into quiet. Some pray, some whisper, some simply sit and listen to the night, and all around them the village sleeps. The moon rises slowly above the rooftops. Its light is pale but steady. It paints silver across the mud brick walls and dusty roads, softening every shadow, gentling every edge. A night bird calls once, then again, from the reeds by the river. No one answers. The sound fades gently into the air, and silence returns. At the temple, a priest steps outside for his final task. He carries a clay bowl filled with milk and a handful of dates. He places them carefully beside the statue of Bast, the cat-headed goddess, protector of homes and joy. The offering is simple, but it is enough. He whispers a quiet prayer. Not loud, not long, just a string of words passed down for centuries. He bows once, and walks back inside, his sandals brushing. The stones. The door closes. The wind shifts, and the temple sleeps. Down at the river's edge, the water is dark and smooth. It reflects the stars like scattered pieces of glass. A crocodile slips silently beneath the surface, leaving only a faint ripple behind. On a small dock, a fisherman finishes tying his boat. He checks his knots, secures the net, and pats the side of the hull with a tired hand. He does not hurry home. He sits for a while, watching the moon move across the sky. Tomorrow will come. The net will go back in the water. But for now, he lets himself rest. Because even those who work with the river must pause. When the river sleeps, in one house near the edge of the village, an old woman cannot sleep. She sits beside her door, wrapped in a worn linen shawl, looking out over the quiet rooftops. She's not worried, she's not sad. She simply has memories, and they like to visit her at night. She remembers the festivals of her youth, lanterns swaying in the evening wind, drums echoing against the stones, bread shared with strangers, and songs that lasted until the stars dimmed. Now the village is quiet, but in her heart, the songs still hum. She smiles at them. She closes her eyes, and eventually, she drifts. Inside a weaver's home, the loom is quiet, but the fabric still holds warmth from the day. A half-finished tapestry lies across the frame, a scene of a heron beside papyrus reeds. A small oil lamp flickers beside it, casting dancing shadows across the threads. The weaver has gone to bed, but her cat remains curled at the base of the loom, tail tucked beneath its chin, its chest rising and falling in time with the flame. Outside, the breeze moves gently through the village lanes. It stirs the palm leaves, rustles the papyrus plants, and finds its way between doorways, cool and silent. Nothing here is still because it must be. Everything simply chooses stillness, because stillness is welcome. Capes shifts in his sleep. He dreams of boats and lions, of walking on water, of honey falling from the sky. His breath is slow and easy. He does not know where one day ends and another begins. He only knows that tomorrow will come, and it will be just as gentle. Hen lies on her mat, eyes closed. She thinks of the bread she bake, of the clay beads she finish, and of the fig tree that needs trimming. But the thoughts are light, like feathers. They float in and out of her mind and leave no mark. Soon, her breathing deepens to when the house falls still. Farther down the road, the old scribe stirs once in his sleep. He dreams of ink and papyrus, of the weight of words, and the feeling of a single clean line drawn across a scroll. He mumbles a name from long ago, then rolls onto his side. Outside his door, the scroll he forgot to bring in flutters faintly in the wind, but it does not blow away. It simply waits for morning. The village is full of these small, unnoticed things. A pot left half covered, a broom leaning gently against the wall, a sleeping goat twitching in its dreams. They are quiet, they are still, and they are perfect. And the Nile flows on. Even at night, the river never truly stops. It slips past stones and reeds and forgotten sandals, carrying silt and fish in silence. It flows beside cities, beside tombs, beneath bridges made from palm trunks. Its waters remember every footstep, every boat, every prayer whispered at its banks. It is old, and it is patient. No one listens to the river at night, but the river listens to everything. In a nearby field, a farmer sleeps beneath a thin canopy, beside his oxen. They've traveled far that day, turning soil for barley and wheat. But now, the plough is set aside. The animals breathe slowly, their sides rising and falling like waves. The stars are bright above them, and somewhere in the field, a cricket begins to sing. It is the only sound, and it is enough. This night is not special. No king is crowned, no battle is fought, no miracles appear. But it is soft, it is whole, and it is waiting only for sleep, for the dreams of farmers and fishermen, of scribes and bakers, of children and cats, and for you, drifting gently across this quiet world, held in its rhythm, rocked by its slowness, and welcomed by its peace. The night is long, the stars are kind, and the silence is safe. Morning begins slowly, not with an alarm, not with a rush, but with light. It spills across the rooftops like warm milk, touching walls, baskets, and bare toes with golden fingers. A rooster calls once from the corner pen, then another answers, and then, again, silence. The village does not leap awake. It stretches, yawns, and turns over. Hennet opens her eyes to the familiar ceiling. Straw beams, clay curves, a spider thread catching the dawn. She doesn't rise right away. She listens first, the breeze brushing through the window, the soft clink of a neighbor's jar, the low murmur of someone greeting the morning sun. Kepper is still asleep, curled in a ball, his lion toy tucked beneath one arm. She smiles and lets him rest. There is no need to wake him yet. Outside, the world glows. The temple walls catch the sun first, bright and blinding for a moment, before softening to honey and sand. Priests begin their quiet morning rites, sweeping the floor with bundled reeds, refilling the water vessels, lighting fresh incense. It's not for spectacle, it's for order, because to the people of Egypt, to honor the gods was to keep the world steady. Each act, no matter how small, helped keep balance. The mot, not just law, but harmony, truth, and calm. In the courtyard, Merit stirs lentils over a quiet fire. She hums softly to herself, the same rhythm as the day before, and likely the same as tomorrow. Nearby, her daughter feeds the chickens, spilling a handful of grain onto the ground. The chickens cluck, peck, and settle again, wings puffed up. Content. A man walks by with a basket of dyed cloth, deep red and pale blue colors made from crushed minerals, ground with oil and wine. He'll carry them to market when the sun rises higher, but for now, he rests the basket beneath a palm and stretches his arms overhead. There's no hurry. Farther down, near the edge of the village, the potter's wheel begins to turn, not fast, just enough to shape the clay. The man's hands are smooth with slip, his fingers steady and slow. He works in silence, forming a wide-mouthed jar with gentle pressure and years of practice. A small boy sits watching, entranced by the way the clay rises and folds. He says nothing, just watches. A breeze lifts a curl of the boy's hair. The potter glances at him, smiles, and offers him a small ball of leftover clay. The boy takes it like a treasure. He doesn't sculpt anything important, just a lump, a round shape. He presses his thumb in once, then again. That's enough. The joy is in the touch, the doing, the moment. By midday, the heat returns, but no one complains. The sky is wide and cloudless. The palm trees wave slowly, as if tired from dreaming. Kepa carries a small basket to the neighbor again, this time filled with garlic and onions. His steps are slow. He stops now and then to poke the dust with a stick, or to watch ants carry a breadcrumb across the stones. There is learning in this, not the kind written on scrolls, but the quiet learning of patience, of paying attention, of noticing the small, perfect things. At the neighbor's home, he trades the basket for a small jug of milk and a warm smile. He turns back down the lane, the jug sloshing gently at his side. Above, a hawk circles lazily in the sun. Below, a lizard darts between cracks in the wall, and the village continues its quiet rhythm. In the shade of the tamarisk tree, the old scribe teaches a younger boy how to draw straight lines on papyrus. The boy holds the reed pen too tightly. His marks are shaky, uneven. Jehuti chuckles softly and places his hand gently over the boy's. Let the line flow, he says, like the Nile. The boy tries again, slower, smoother. The ink glides better this time, and a simple glyph begins to take shape. A bird, a loaf, a wave. It doesn't have to be perfect, just honest, just still. The old scribe nods, and the boy smiles. As the afternoon deepens, the smell of crushed herbs drifts from the healer's home. She mixes them carefully, grinding dried leaves with a smooth stone, coriander, cumin, dried mint. Her hands move with care, not because the patient is in danger, but because healing is also about presence. She places the powder in a small linen pouch and ties it closed with a thread of blue dot. Later, she hangs it beside the patient's bed, not for magic, but to ease the breath, calm the body, soften the dreams. Outside, a palm leaf flutters in the breeze, casting dancing shadows on the wall. A clay pot sweats quietly in the corner, keeping water cool, and a fly buzzes once, then leaves. Everything is slow, and everything is enough. At the edge of the village, beyond the last house and a crumbling stone wall, sits an old fig tree. Its branches stretch wide, providing shade to a worn stone bench below. An elder rests there, his feet bare, his walking stick leaning beside him. He watches the horizon. He's not waiting for anything in particular. He just likes the view. Once, he says, this path led to the old quarry. Once, there were caravans that passed here, with gold and incense, and stories from far away. But today, it is only the wind, and the sound of bees in the fig blossoms above. And that is perfect. The evening settles in slowly. The sky begins to cool, shifting from soft blue to muted amber. The sounds of the village grow quieter, one at a time. Chickens return to their coops. Children lower their voices. The sound of a broom brushing the courtyard grows softer. Inside one home, a mother lays out the evening meal. A bowl of lentils, a loaf of bread, and a few olives rest on a small woven mat. Her husband joins her with dust on his sandals and a smile on his face. He sits cross-legged and thanks her with a nod. They eat quietly, not from custom but from comfort. There is peace in shared silence. Near the temple wall, a small group of workers returns from the fields. Their tools hang loosely in their hands. They walk side by side without words. Their steps are slow, sinking softly into the sand. The sun lowers behind them, casting long shadows that stretch across the earth. At the edge of the village, a young girl finishes sweeping the path. She pauses at the gate and looks out toward the hills. Nothing moves there except the sky. She inhales deeply, catching the scent of dry grass and clay. Then she turns and heads inside, her broom tucked beneath her arm. In the potter's home, the wheel has stopped turning. The clay jars now rest on wooden planks, still damp, waiting for the kill. The potter sits nearby with a bowl of dates in his lap. He eats slowly, one bite at a time. He doesn't count the days by numbers but by shapes, by the curve of a vase, the width of a mouth, the cool weight of his work. In the space between his fingers, he rolls a small ball of clay. He presses it gently, flattening one side, rounding the next. He places it beside him on the shelf. He does not give it a name, It is simply a quiet moment made solid. Near the riverbank, water laps against the stone steps. A heron steps carefully along the edge, pausing every few feet. Its feathers shift with the breeze, pale and smooth. The current moves without sound, carrying reflections of palm trees and fading clouds. The boatmen have gone for the day, and their vessels bob gently in their moorings. The reeds sway in rhythm, tall and slow. A frog calls once and is answered from somewhere farther off. Then the stillness returns. Inside the healer's home, the air is filled with the scent of dried thyme and warm oil. She sits beside a young boy, resting a cool cloth on his forehead. The boy's mother watches quietly from the corner, hands clasped in her lap. There is no panic in the room, only the low whisper of comfort and the steady drip of water from a bowl. The healer hums to herself while mixing a few more crushed herbs. She knows which combinations calm the heart, which ease the stomach, which soften fevered dreams. Her fingers move with care. The boy's breathing slows. He begins to drift, his face softening. The mother lets out a quiet sigh. It is a sound of relief, a sound made only when fear loosens its grip. The healer does not speak. She only lights a small lamp and leaves it glowing by the mat. Then she settles back and listens to the night settle in. In the weaver's home, the cloth has been folded. She places it gently on a shelf beside other finished pieces. Each one tells a small story, not with words but with colors and pattern. The cool linen is soft beneath her fingers. She brushes a loose thread from the edge. A cup of water sits beside her loom. She lifts it slowly, drinks, and places it back, without sound. Then she lowers herself onto a mat and stretches out beneath the window. A breeze moves through the space, light and kind. It passes across her face and into the room, lifting the curtain. She closes her eyes, hands resting on her stomach, body still. She does not worry about tomorrow's work. It will come, as it always does. She will greet it when it arrives. Beneath the fig tree, the elder sits once more. He watches as the stars begin to appear. One by one they brighten, blinking through the dusk. He leans back against the trunk and listens to the evening unfold. The same stars have risen for thousands of years. He knows their paths, the ones that mark the flood's return, the ones that guide the seasons. He murmurs the name of one beneath his breath, then falls silent again. A child walks by, carrying a clay pot filled with water. She greets him politely. He raises a hand in reply. She disappears down the path, her footsteps quiet in the dust. The elder remains where he is, resting in the cool hush, surrounded by time, watched by stars. In every home, the lamps are lit. The flames glow small but steady. They flicker softly on the walls, dancing with shadows. Families gather on their mats. Voices are gentle, movements are slow. The sound of evening prayers can be heard, spoken not as chants, but as soft wishes. Some words are ancient, others are made new each night. The village grows quiet again, even quieter than before. And above it all, the sky stretches open, wide and still. The stars wheel slowly overhead. Some are clustered like pearls, others drift alone. All of them shine over the rooftops, the fields, and the river. Inside Hennet's home, the oil lamp burns low. She smooths the blanket over Kepper's shoulder. His breaths are deep and slow. His toy lion lies at his side. She sits for a moment longer, watching the way the lamplight flickers across his face. Then she rises and walks quietly to the doorway. She steps out into the courtyard and looks up at the sky. A few houses away, a dog gives a single, soft bark. Then nothing. Only the sounds of insects. Only the night. She leans against the doorway, her thoughts as calm as the air. The bread is ready for the morning. The clay beads are finished. The house is clean. Her son is safe. There is nothing more to do. Farther down the lane, two neighbors sit beneath a reed canopy. They share a bowl of lentils and a small jug of wine. Their conversation is quiet, drifting in and out like a tide. They talk about the harvest, about a cousin's new calf, about the time the moon looked red for an entire night. They do not laugh loudly. They do not need to fill the silence. They are simply present. One of them leans back and closes his eyes. The other finishes the last sip of wine and sets the jug down gently on the earth. The embers in their fire crackle, then settle. The night wraps around them like a warm blanket. In the temple courtyard, a priest checks the offering table one last time. He straightens the cloth beneath the flowers. He adjusts a small bowl filled with barley. Everything is simple, but placed with care. He lights one final stick of incense. The smoke rises slowly, forming thin curls that melt into the night air. He breathes in the scent, sweet and dry. It reminds him of his first day here, long ago. He bows his head, then turns and disappears through the carved stone doorway. Inside, the statues wait in shadow. The air is still, nothing moves. Outside, the stars shine down on the temple roof. It is quiet. It has always been quiet. On the rooftop of a home near the edge of the village, a young couple lies side by side. They speak softly, their voices barely above a whisper. They talk about names they might give their first child, about how many bricks it might take to fix the back wall, about how peaceful the night feels. One of them points to a constellation. The other nods, pretending to know which one it is. They laugh gently. Then they grow quiet again. The breeze brushes over their skin. The clay beneath them still holds the heat of the day. They hold hands. They close their eyes. The stars keep turning. A small fire still burns beside the baker's oven. The coals glow beneath a low stack of logs. The bread was baked earlier, but the fire remains, warming the air, filling the courtyard with a familiar scent. The baker sleeps nearby, one hand resting on a folded cloth. His work is done, but the oven will keep its warmth for hours. Sometimes the neighborhood cats sleep beside it. Sometimes he dreams of cinnamon and flour. This night, the fire does not need tending. It watches over itself. The warmth does not wander. It stays exactly where it is needed. The streets are empty now. No sandals move across the stones. No voices call across rooftops. The wells are covered. The animals are tucked into pens. Every home is wrapped in rest. Every breath inside is slow and steady. Outside, the wind makes soft shapes in the sand. The walls breathe gently in and out. Time itself seems to pause. The stars, though they move, do not hurry. The night, though it deepens, does not press. It simply stretches, and the village, though ancient, feels new again. Each night makes it so. Above it all, the sky remains clear and open. No clouds pass. No storms stir. Only light, only silence. The Nile flows on. Even now, in the hush of midnight, it carries the same stories it always has. It carries the silt of seasons, the shadows of boats, the breath of lotus petals, and the gentle pull of sleep. It carries you too, wrapped in calm, drifting along with everything that waits quietly in the dark. Morning begins without alarm. There is no bell, no sudden sound, only a change in light, only a soft warming of the walls. A breeze slips through the narrow windows, carrying the scent of baked earth and river mist. It touches a mother's cheek, moves a corner of woven cloth, brushes over sleeping hands. The village begins again, but not quickly, slowly, one breath at a time. Hennet rises with the hush of daybreak. She moves softly across the floor, checking the coals, adding straw to coax the heat. The oven responds with a faint crackle, not loud, but just enough. She places round loaves on a flat clay board. The dough has risen overnight beneath a damp cloth. She lifts it gently and lowers it into the oven. The scent that rises is warm and comforting. Kepa stirs on his mat, rubbing his eyes, then blinking toward the light. He does not speak right away. He listens to the morning, the sound of the fire, the gentle movement of water being poured, the song of a bird resting on the window frame. He sits up slowly. The toy lion falls into his lap. He picks it up, smiles, and carries it with him into the day. In the courtyard, neighbors begin to sweep their doorways. The reeds brush lightly across stone. One woman carries a basket of fresh figs. She arranges them in a bowl near the gate, not to sell, just to share. The scribe Jehuti steps into the light. He stretches his arms above his head. His scrolls are stacked on a shelf, bound in cord. He selects one and sits with it beneath the tamarisk tree. Today he writes, not for pharaoh or temple, but for the village record, a list of births, marriages, and traded goods. He dips his reed, pen in ink made of soot and oil, and draws the first line. The ink dries quickly under the rising sun. The papyrus smells faintly sweet. He hums to himself as he works. Near the field, oxen stir and snort gently in their pens. They are used to the rhythm now. They step forward when called, rest still when tethered. They know the soil will be ready. They know the plow will press into the earth. They know the sun will warm their backs. A boy gathers rope. His older brother checks the leather strap. Their father tests the blade of a tool, rubbing it smooth with his thumb. They are quiet as they work. The day is long. They know not to rush. By the water's edge, fishermen unroll their nets. They speak to one another in short, clipped phrases. They know each gesture, each knot, each pull of the line. Their rhythm is like breathing. One man tosses a basket into the boat. Another checks the clay jars for bait. They push off slowly. The current takes them gently away from shore. Behind them, the reeds part and sway. A frog leaps. A bird calls out once, then settles again. The river accepts their return. The water holds them up. In a small, shaded shop, the potter turns the wheel again. His hands press into the clay. He does not speak. He only hums. This jar will be wide at the base, narrow at the top. It will hold oil or water, or perhaps grain. It does not matter yet. What matters is the shape. He turns the wheel. The clay rises. The air smells of damp earth and smoke. He closes his eyes as he smooths the edge. The shape is just right. He leaves it to rest, then begins another. The temple priest steps out with a cloth over one arm. He carries it carefully. It is embroidered with gold thread, patterned with symbols for peace and balance. He lays it across the altar with care. His fingers press out each fold, then light a cone of incense at each corner. Smoke rises, straight and steady. He steps back. He bows, not for show, for stillness. Behind him, the carved figures watch from the shadows. Their eyes do not move, but their presence fills the room. Outside, the wind shifts. The curtain at the entrance stirs once, then stills. On the edge of the village, a child chases a butterfly. Her bare feet brush the dust. Her laughter is soft but bright. She follows the fluttering wings past a goat pen, past a sleeping dog, past her own home. Then she stops, watching the butterfly drift upward, out of reach. She doesn't cry. She just watches, then turns and walks back slowly, her fingers trailing along the edge of a stone wall. She hums a tune she heard once, and the tune follows her home. Every part of the village begins to move now, not fast, not loud, but with rhythm. A pot is lowered into a well. A fig is sliced into quarters. A braid is tied with twine. A path is swept. A bead is polished. Each task is simple. Each one adds to the shape of the day. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is rushed. And above it all, the sun rises higher. Its light spills across the rooftops, warming each face, filling every shadow. As the sun climbs toward its peak, the village pauses. Shadows gather beneath trees and awnings. People slow their movements. The air grows thick, but not unfriendly. It simply suggests stillness. Hennet wipes her brow with the edge of her shawl. She places a damp cloth over a clay pot, sealing in the coolness. The bread is ready now, golden and soft. She lines the loaves on a woven tray and covers them with palm fiber. They will rest until the evening meal. Kepa sits in the corner, drawing circles in the dust with a stick. He makes a sun, a bird, a wave. His tongue rests at the edge of his lips in concentration. Each shape takes patience, and he does not rush. Hennet watches him with quiet joy. Near the stone wall, a neighbor rests beneath a woven canopy. She sips water from a jar cooled by shade. The clay sweats gently, droplets forming along its sides. She presses it to her forehead, then drinks again. The water tastes of the river and of stone, simple and clear. A goat chews lazily in the yard. Its ears flick away flies. The woman hums a song her grandmother used to sing. The melody has no words, just sounds that feel like drifting water. Somewhere nearby, a fig falls from a tree. It lands with a soft thump on the sand. The goat glances at it, then looks away. Even hunger feels slow in this heat. In the scribe's corner, Jehuti has stopped writing. He folds his scroll carefully, binds it with cord, and sets it aside. His fingers ache slightly, but not unpleasantly. It is the ache of steady work. He pours water into a small clay cup and drinks with both hands. A fly lands near the inkpot. He watches it for a moment, then leans back in his chair and lets his eyes close. His breath deepens. The shade holds him like a blanket. The papyrus crackles faintly in the warm air. His scrolls rest beside him like sleeping thoughts. The potter has moved into his shaded alcove. He no longer works the wheel. Instead, he watches his jars drying in the sun. The clay changes slowly, lightning as it dries, the surface turning from cool gray to soft tan. He picks up one jar and taps the side gently. The sound is dull and hollow. It is not yet ready, so he waits. He leans back against the wall and lets the warmth hold him. He runs one finger along the grain of the wood bench. Then he closes his eyes and lets the stillness soak in. The temple remains quiet through the midday. The priests speak in hushed voices. One stirs a pot of herbal paste. Another repairs a torn reed mat. A pair of cats doze in a patch of sunlight. Their bodies curl like soft clay. Their ears flick only when a breeze moves across the stone floor. One priest opens the heavy wooden door to the courtyard. He steps outside and looks up at the sky. It is pale and endless, shimmering faintly at the horizon. He bows once, without words. Then he returns inside and lets the door close quietly behind him. By the river, the fishermen rest on the bank. Their boat is tied, their nets set aside. They sit in silence, bare feet in the water. The current presses gently against their ankles. One tosses a stone. It skips once, twice, then sinks. The water swallows the sound and returns to stillness. A dragonfly drifts past. Its wings flicker in the sun. One fisherman follows it with his eyes, then leans back onto the grass and folds his arms beneath his head. He breathes in the scent of water and silt. He does not think. He simply rests. In every home, a quiet calm settles in. Mats are laid out. Curtains sway softly at the windows. The sound of breathing becomes the only rhythm. Babies nap in their mother's arms. Old men lie beneath awnings with hands folded on their chests. Young women dip cloths into cool jars and press them to their necks. Even the dogs seem to sleep, more deeply. Their paws twitch in slow motion, as if running through dreams of wide desert fields. The village does not shut down. It exhales. It allows the heat to pass through it like a warm breeze, and it waits for the light to change again. And above it all, the sun moves forward in its great arc. Slow, steady, predictable. Its light spills over the land, glinting off river reeds, warming the sides of worn homes, casting sharp shadows across simple tools. It does not rush. It does not slow. It simply carries the day forward. The people of the village do not fight the sun. They follow it. With closed eyes, with full hearts, with open hands, and with the patience of the old, who knows that stillness has its place in every life. The heat begins to soften. The air, once still and heavy, starts to move again. Not fast, not loud, just enough to stir the dust and cool the skin. Children come out from shaded corners. Their feet patter across the ground, light as sparrow wings. They gather pebbles into small piles. They trace shapes in the earth with reed stalks. A game begins with a soft clap. Another child joins, then another. Voices rise, not shouting, just laughter that rolls gently through the alleys. A mother watches from her doorway. She lifts a jug to her shoulder and carries it to the well. The bucket creaks as it lowers. The rope shifts in her fingers. The water that comes up is cool and clean. She pours it slowly into the jug, listening to the splash echo within. She balances the weight with practiced grace and walks back toward home, smiling faintly at the voices of the children. At the edge of the fields, the farmers return to their work. Not all of them, just those who like to move while the light is long and golden. One man bends at the waist, steady and sure, pulling weeds from between his crops. His hands are dark with soil. His back glistens in the light. He hums a tune as old as the land, something passed from worker to worker, never quite remembered, never quite forgotten. It has no beginning and no end, just the comfort of repetition. Near him, a woman harvests barley. She gathers the stalks in bunches, tying them neatly with strips of papyrus. The scent of crushed grain rises with each handful. They do not speak. They do not need to. Their tools move. The sun lowers, and the work is good. In the marketplace, baskets are arranged. One holds garlic, another, dried figs, another, carved ivory combs wrapped in linen. A man calls out softly to no one in particular. His tone is gentle, like a lullaby. He is not selling loudly. He is simply letting the world know what is here, in case someone is listening. A group of boys walks by with a goat. One of them carries a flute. He plays a few notes, and the others clap along. The sound echoes briefly between stone walls, then fades into the still air. No one rushes. No one calls for hurry. In this place, there is always time. The shadows grow longer. They stretch like fingers across the paths, reaching toward one another. The breeze grows cooler. It smells of earth and dried grass. Hennet gathers the bread. She places it on a low table with small bowls of herbs and lentils. Kepper helps carry a water jar, his feet dusted from playing. He hums as he walks, not for anyone to hear, but because the song lives in him now. They sit together. Their meal is simple. They eat slowly. Outside, the village settles. One lamp is lit, then another. A hush falls over the rooftops, and the light begins to change. The sun meets the horizon. Its final rays spill across the Nile, turning the water gold. Boats drift back toward shore. Fishermen tie their lines and rinse their nets. One man kneels to offer thanks, not loudly, just a bow of the head, a breath spoken into the evening air. A dog pads quietly along the riverbank. A woman carries a basket of reeds to her home. The frogs begin to call. The herons stretch their wings. The river accepts the day's end. It moves with purpose, but never haste. Its current presses forward, slow and deep. Inside homes, lanterns flicker. The shadows they cast move gently, soft and long. The weaver folds her cloth for the night. She strokes her fingers across the final threads, checking for snags. There are none. She places the cloth on the shelf beside the others. She adds a sprig of dried lavender to keep the moths away. Then she lowers herself to the mat and lets her eyes fall closed. The cat curls beside her. Its body makes a perfect circle. Its tail wraps around its paws. The only sound is the breeze pressing against the shutters. The temple is silent now. The torches had been dimmed. Only a few embers remain glowing in the offering fire. The priest walks one last circle through the courtyard. He touches the base of each statue with his palm. He does not speak. He breathes in deeply, the scent of incense and stone. He feels the stillness settle into his bones. He returns to his quarters and lies down on the floor. He pulls a cloth over his shoulders. He watches the stars through a small window, and then he sleeps. The village is wrapped in dusk. The air cools gently, settling like silk across the rooftops. The trees stop swaying. The dust stops rising. And the people, one by one, begin to dream. No bells ring. No music plays. Just the quiet hush of a world at peace. The soft breath of those who have worked. The soft hearts of those who have rested. And above it all, the stars awaken. They do not shine in pride. They shine in memory. They shine in rhythm. They shine for those who sleep. The sky has turned to velvet, dark and wide. It stretches without end. The stars are quiet companions. They shimmer gently, like the faintest reflections on water. Henut places a wet cloth over the jar to keep the water cool for morning. Kep has already fallen asleep, his toy lion tucked beside him. She watches him for a moment, then lowers the curtain near his mat and steps outside. The air is soft on her face. She leans against the doorway, arms folded loosely. She listens. There is not much to hear, only the chirp of insects, the rustle of palm leaves, and the rhythmic pulse of the night. She closes her eyes. She feels the cool stone beneath her feet, and she breathes in. The night belongs to no one. It is shared equally by every soul in the village. The elder beneath the fig tree, the guards at the temple gates, the child who stirs and turns in her sleep. Each one rests beneath the same stars, each one held in the same hush, each one part of something timeless. In one home, a woman sits with a small piece of jewelry in her lap. It belonged to her mother, and to her grandmother before that. She turns it over gently, watching the moonlight reflect off the small inlaid stones. She remembers stories told by firelight, stories of desert caravans and songs sung to newborns. She whispers one now, not to anyone in particular, just to keep the memory alive. Then she places the piece back in its pouch, ties it shut, and tucks it beneath her mat. She lies down and closes her eyes, letting her breath match the rhythm of the night. By the river, the last boatman finishes tying his skiff to a post. He runs a palm along the side of the hull, checking the smoothness of the wood. The boat shifts slightly, then stills. He steps onto shore and stretches, arms wide beneath the stars. A light wind stirs the reeds. The water ripples faintly. He crouches down and dips his hand in. It is cool. It is steady. It is home. He dries his hand on his tunic and walks back toward the village. His steps slow, his heart quiet. In the healer's room, the lamp glows low. A woman rests on a mat near the corner, her breathing slow and deep. The healer sits nearby, grinding a few dried flowers into powder. The scent is gentle, chamomile and mint. She pours the mixture into a bowl and places it near the door, so the scent will drift through the room. She touches the woman's forehead once, then wraps herself in a light cloth and leans against the wall. Her eyes fall closed, then for a moment the entire house feels like a cradle. Not far away, the priest walks one final path through the outer wall of the temple. He carries a small clay lamp in one hand, its flame protected by a circle of his fingers. He checks each doorway, not because he fears anything, but because it is part of the rhythm. He kneels once before the gate to the inner sanctuary, bows his head, and places the lamp beside the door. The flame flickers, then steadies. He stands and returns through the courtyard, his sandals brushing softly across the stone floor. He does not speak, he does not hurry. He simply finishes the circle of his walk, and then returns to rest. A breeze rises in the east. It passes over the rooftops and through the palm trees. It rustles a woven curtain. It stirs the edge of a sleeping mat. It lifts a few grains of sand and lets them fall again. No one wakes, no one stirs. The breeze is only a lullaby. It is the sky's gentle hand brushing the village quiet, and in its path, every breath deepens. A cat moves through the alley, its paws silent on the stone, its eyes golden and wide. It pauses beneath a clay bench, then steps forward again. It does not seek anything, it only explores. Each night holds something new, and the cat knows how to listen for it. It disappears into the shadow of a courtyard, and the night remains undisturbed. Inside a modest home near the well, an old man rolls onto his side. He dreams of childhood, of green reeds near the Nile, of sunlight through the water, of voices that spoke with love and laughter. He smiles faintly, even in sleep. The dreams are not loud. They move like dust in the sun, soft and slow, and they carry him toward morning. The moon rises higher now. Its glow turns the rooftops pale. Stone shines like bone. The courtyards take on a silver hue. On one home, the baker shifts beneath his blanket. His dreams smell of cinnamon and sweet grain. He murmurs once, but does not wake. His oven stands empty, its stones still holding the warmth of yesterday. Soon, the fire will be lit again, but not yet. For now, the silence is complete, and the heat rests too. The palm trees stand still in the darkness, their fronds hang heavy, waiting for wind. A small owl lands on a low wall, its feathers puff slightly. It listens to the soft stirrings of the earth. Nothing moves in fear. Nothing is hurried. There is no reason. The owl waits, then lifts away with a silent beat of wings. The night folds back into place. A family of 3 sleeps beside an open window. The child lies between them, arms sprawled across both parents. Outside, the sound of crickets pulses like waves. Inside, only the rustle of cloth and the occasional breath. The father dreams of fish pulled from deep waters, the mother of wheat fields turning gold, the child of something that has no shape, only warmth and laughter. None of them move. The night holds them still. Across the village, old pottery cools in an open-air kiln. The flames have long faded, but the clay still sings with the memory of fire. The potter will return at dawn. He will tap the rims. He will check for cracks. But tonight, the jars sleep beneath the stars. Their shadows stretch long, then disappear. A curtain flutters once, then settles. A reed mat creaks as someone shifts their weight. A gourd hanging from a rope spins slightly, then stills. These are the only signs of life, and they are enough. The village is breathing. Not deeply, not loudly. Just enough. Beyond the river, a desert breeze carries the scent of stone and time. It rolls across dry hills. It slides past old ruins, half covered in sand. It slips through openings in broken walls. It finds its way to the edge of the village. There, it pauses. Then it moves on, brushing over the tops of reeds, caressing the tips of crops, cooling the faces of those who sleep. It leaves no mark, but everything remembers it. The stars drift westward. Their light reflects in the river like silver thread. The water carries it gently toward the sea. The tide does not rush. The night does not chase it. It simply flows. The fishermen's nets lie coiled by their homes. Oars lean against walls. Clay bowls rest on benches. Everything has been left in place. There is no reason to hide anything. There is only peace. Hennet sleeps with one arm beneath her head. Kepper, curled beside her, stirs once, then settles. Their breaths fall into rhythm, a steady, slow pattern that matches the quiet of the world outside. In their dreams, there are no worries, only slow rivers, soft laughter, and the scent of warm bread. In the silence of night, even time begins to soften, and above it all, the moon continues to rise. Higher now, brighter. Its light falls over the stone streets, touches the edges of woven baskets, spills across worn doorways and tired hands. It says nothing. It asks for nothing. It only watches, and as it watches, the village sinks deeper into sleep. Every corner, every shadow, every breath, all gently held beneath its pale glow. Asterisk, far above the village, the sky remains wide and endless. The stars shift slowly. Their dance is ancient. It moves without sound. It moves without pause. One star hangs low, bright and steady. The same star that guided the earliest farmers. The same star that marked the flood's return. It watches the village as it sleeps, just as it has always done. Its light falls across rooftops, over sleeping goats, over tools left by doorways, and across faces relaxed in rest. It does not need to speak. Its silence says everything. The palm grove at the edge of the field sways once in a gentle wind. Each frond rustles lightly, then returns to stillness. The trees stand like watchers. They have seen many seasons, but they do not hold them tightly. They let each one pass. A clay jar sits near the trunk of one tree, left by a shepherd earlier in the day. Its shadow stretches long now, curving into the sand. The jar is still cool inside. No one comes for it yet. It will be there in the morning. The land remembers where things belong. The walls of the temple are painted with stories. Lions, gods, hunters, boats, birds, all of them silent now. All of them resting in the shadows. A torch flickers low in the hallway. Its flame is small, but steady. Dot. It dances across carved stone, making the painted eyes blink slowly, as if they, too, are dreaming. The priest lies in his quarters, hands folded over his chest, wrapped in a linen sheet. His breath is deep, his heart calm. Even the gods, it seems, are resting tonight. Outside the granary, a mouse scurries over a ledge. It pauses, then disappears beneath a stack of reeds. There is no danger, no urgency, only instinct. A cat watches from a rooftop, tail curled neatly, eyes half-lidded with sleep. It does not chase. Not tonight. Tonight is for peace, not for prey. The fishermen's homes are quiet now. Ropes hang coiled on pegs. Jars are sealed. Sandals placed in even rows. The river laps gently at the edge of the village, a sound like whispered breathing. A small wave splashes against a dock post. Another drifts beneath a moored boat. Each ripple glimmers under the moonlight, then disappears. The river has no beginning, no end. It simply continues, like breath, like sleep. The marketplace lies empty. No voices call, no footsteps echo. Only baskets remain, stacked neatly in corners. A dog lies curled near the well. Its ear flicks once, then rests again. A woven mat, left behind by a merchant, flutters slightly in the breeze. The edge lifts, then falls. Everything waits in softness. Nothing hurries. In her home the weaver dreams, not of threads but of birds, white ones, with slow wings, gliding above a wide field. She reaches for them in her sleep, arms moving gently beneath her cloth. The dream is not clear, but it is kind, and that is enough. The breeze shifts through the window. A fold of cloth lifts at the edge of the loom. The corner rises, then lowers like a breath. The cloth will be finished tomorrow. Tonight, it rests with her. The stone streets are cool now, still warm from the sun, but calming with each passing hour. A man walks slowly, returning home from the river. He carries no tools, just a jar of water and a quiet heart. His steps are slow, not from weariness, but from respect for the silence. Each footfall is soft, each pause deliberate. He passes a sleeping dog, a folded mat, a fig tree rustling gently in the night wind. He reaches his doorway, lowers his head, and steps inside. Inside, his family sleeps in a circle. One child has rolled away, his arms stretched. Across the stone floor, the man lifts the child gently, places him back on the mat, and tucks the corner of the cloth over his feet. He sits for a moment, watching the rise and fall of each breath. Then he lies down beside them, his eyes close, his shoulders soften. The world turns slowly, and sleep arrives like a quiet tide. High above, the stars shift gently. They mark the passage of time, but they do not rush it. They glimmer like distant thoughts, slow and patient. The constellation of the falcon god rises in the sky. In ancient times, farmers watched its return, believing it foretold the flood. Now it simply hovers, silent and vast. Its presence is like a soft reminder. Even the heavens follow rhythms. Even the stars sleep in cycles. At the edge of the village, the fields lie still. Barley rows shimmer faintly in the moonlight, their heads heavy, bowed in quiet dot. In the cool night air, the scent of growing things lingers. Damp soil, cracked husks, green stems. The oxen rest in their pens. One snorts in sleep, then falls quiet again. A farmer dreams of furrows, straight and deep, of gentle rains, and baskets filled with grain. He turns onto his side, one arm tucked beneath his head. A piece of straw still clings to his tunic. A woman wakes briefly, eyes blinking toward the half-open window. She hears the rustle of the wind, feels the cool of the linen against her skin. She shifts slightly, adjusts the sleeping baby beside her, then lets her eyes fall shut again. The baby stirs once, makes a small sound, and returns to rest. Their breathing blends with the night, soft, rhythmic, unbroken dot. Inside the temple courtyard, oil lamps burn low. Their flames flicker once, then hold steady. A carved lotus basin catches moonlight. Its water reflects a perfect sky, not disturbed, not stirred, just still. A priest, waking briefly, walks barefoot across the stone. He does not speak. He does not need to. He lifts a clay cup, drinks deeply, and watches the flame at the far wall. It dances without wind, pure and small. He nods once, and returns to his mat. A breeze drifts into the potter's alcove. The air moves between rows of half bowls and vases. Some are still wet, others are dry to the touch. Each one waits for morning. The potter's tools lie in quiet piles. A carving stick, a water jar, a cloth stained with slip. The potter himself sleeps with his back against the wall, his arms folded, his head leaning slightly to the side. He dreams, not of clay, but of rivers, and birds, and silence. Somewhere in the village, a dog barks once. Not a warning, just a sound. It echoes off the stone homes, then disappears. No one wakes. The night folds itself back around the village. A blanket without weight, a sound without end. The breath of the land deepens. Near the well, a rope creaks in the wind. It turns slowly on the pulley. The bucket swings, then stills. Its soft sway keeps rhythm with the stars. Even objects sleep in their own way. A fig drops from a tree. It rolls once, then lies still in the dust. The rooftops glimmer in the moonlight. Each home looks like a carved stone, etched by time, worn by breath. Inside them, people dream, not of greatness, not of war, just of moments. A smile, a warm jar of milk, a reed boat carried by the tide. And perhaps that is all they need. Nothing more, nothing less, just the kind of peace that fits in a single breath. The night continues, unbroken, untouched, unhurried. It does not chase the sun. It does not fear the dawn. It simply moves softly over the village, carrying every sleeper deeper into the calm. The moon has passed its highest point. Its light begins to soften. The shadows it casts grow longer, fading gently into corners and folds. The village remains still, not from exhaustion, but from trust. Everything rests in balance. A jar does not fall. A curtain does not tear. Even the smallest flame burns without fear. The world, in this moment, asks for nothing, and offers everything. A young boy stirs in his sleep. Not keep another child a little older, his head resting on his folded arms. He dreams of racing through palm groves, of catching fish with his bare hands, of a falcon resting on his wrist. His feet twitch beneath his blanket. He smiles once, then stills again. His dreams ripple like water, brief and wide, then gone. A priest dreams too. His hands, which held scrolls and sacred incense, now lie still. He dreams not of ceremony, but of clouds rolling over the desert, and sandals pressed into soft sand, and a quiet voice calling him by name. The gods, tonight, require no offering, only sleep. At the edge of the fields, a girl sleeps beside her family's storehouse. She had fallen asleep counting stars. 1, 2, 3. Too many. Her basket lies tipped on its side. A small pile of dried chickpeas has spilled beside her hand. She does not wake. The earth beneath her is warm. The wind above her is cool. And the night, kind. The reed boats tied near the shore drift gently with the current. Their ropes hold them firm, but they move slightly, just enough to whisper to the river. The current replies in soft laps against the hulls. No splashes, no urgency, only the sound of the Nile breathing, in and out, without pause. A frog croaks once in the darkness, then the silence returns. Inside one home, a woman lies awake, not worried, just listening. She hears the sound of a neighbor's laugh in a dream. She hears the flap of wings overhead. She hears the slow, steady heartbeats of those around her. She lets it all wash over her, then closes her eyes again. Even wakefulness has its softness. In the granary, the scent of grain still clings to the air. Cool, dry, familiar. Mice rustle. Behind sacks, a snake shifts beneath a low basket, then stops. Everything moves, but only slightly. Even in stillness, there is life. A pot cracks faintly in the kiln. The sound is soft, like a sigh. No one hears it, but it happens all the same. And the stars, still watching, take note. They shine no brighter. They make no sound, but their presence holds it. Nothing is forgotten in the night. Even the smallest sound has its place. By the temple gate, a stone lion watches. Its eyes are carved, but full of meaning. For centuries it has guarded this place. And tonight is no different. The moonlight lines its back. A bird lands near its paw, then flies away again. The lion does not move. It never has. But still, it watches. And in its own way, it understands. The village sleeps. The fields sleep. The animals sleep. Even the wind seems to rest now. This hour is made for silence. It holds no story, no action, only presence. And in that presence, peace. The sky has darkened to its quietest blue. It no longer glows. It simply watches. The stars have thinned, making room for something new. But still, the village sleeps. In one home, a clay water jar has tipped slightly on its side. Not enough to spill, just enough to catch a shadow in its curve. Beside it, a sleeping man shifts. His breath stays deep, his hands relaxed, his dreams continuing without interruption. The cat returns to its rooftop. It curls near the chimney, where the stone still holds the day's warmth. It sighs once, a sound so soft it's mistaken for wind. Its eyes close. Its tail flicks once, and then stillness. Even the hunters sleep when there's nothing left to chase. Near the well, an old woman sleeps under a canopy. She always preferred the open air. She says it makes her dreams lighter. Tonight, she dreams of a river that runs in the sky, wide and silver, filled with fish that shimmer like fireflies. She floats, not in a boat, but in thought, guided by current, not by oars. Her breath is as soft as a reed swaying in still water. The weaver's loom stands quiet. A strip of half-woven linen waits. The shuttle frozen in place mid-thread. The work will continue tomorrow. But for now, the fibers sleep, too. The last cloth she made, folded carefully, rests on a bench beside her. Its pattern simple lines, soft. Blues reminds her of ripples in the Nile. She often dreams in patterns. Tonight, they drift like clouds across her thought. Inside the temple's smallest chamber, a flame flickers in a small dish of oil. It is the final light. All others have gone out. This one remains, not out of duty, but devotion. It throws golden light against the carvings, hieroglyphs that speak of harmony, of seasons returning, of the stars being born again each night. The flame makes the symbols seem to move, but it's only the light, playing with silence. The boy kept the dreams of birds, one bird in particular bright green, with wings that stretch wider than the sky. He rides it high above the village, his arms outstretched, his voice laughing softly in the dream. Below him, the rooftops look like puzzle pieces. The river shines like silver rope. He dips, he soars, he floats, in sleep. He smiles. His hand reaches slightly in the air, grasping at nothing, and holding everything. The fishermen's boats bump gently against the dock. Their ropes creak. A paddle shifts. No one stirs. Inside one hut, a fisherman sleeps with his hand over his chest. A necklace of beads, tiny river stones, worn smooth, rests against his skin. It was a gift from his daughter. She placed it there before he slept. believing it would keep bad dreams away, and so far, it has. He dreams now of deep water, not cold, not dark, just quiet, and full of stars. A pot cools on a shelf. The paint on its side has dried. The brush still lies near its edge. It bears a small symbol, a sun rising between two hills. The mark of morning, of renewal. The potter placed it there today, thinking of the dawn that would eventually arrive. But for now, the pot waits. No rush, no fire, only breath. The shadows stretch thinner now, not fading, just leaning. The moon begins to lower. Its work is nearly done. It leaves no note, no farewell, only soft light on smooth stone. Only the hush of a world held in rest, and in every home, every mat, every breath, sleep continues, wrapped not in blankets, but in rhythm, in calm, in the slow unfolding of time. Asterisk, the horizon glows, just barely, a faint silver line, as thin as a whisper. But the village remains asleep. The sun waits below the earth, its light stretching slowly, carefully, like fingers testing still water. No one wakes, not yet. There is still time for dreams. In the reed fields, dew has begun to settle. Tiny drops gather on every blade, each one catching the starlight. Together they shimmer, as if the ground is made of quiet glass. A small frog, cold and content, climbs onto a stone. It sits motionless, blinking slowly, breathing slowly. All around it, the night exhales. Inside her home, Hennet stirs. She does not open her eyes, but her body knows morning is near. She adjusts her blanket, pulls it higher beneath her chin, and turns toward Kepper. He is still dreaming. His lips move slightly, but make no sound. She watches him with a faint smile, then closes her eyes once more. Just a little longer, she thinks. The temple priest lies still. His arms remain folded. His chest rises and falls in calm rhythm. He dreams of lotus flowers, white ones, floating down a canal. He watches them drift, one by one, petal by petal. He knows this dream. It visits him often, and always it leaves him in peace. The oxen shift in their pens. One exhales, slow and deep. A worker's cloak, hanging by the barn, sways once in the morning air. A rake leans against the doorframe, its wooden handles smooth from years of use. The fields beyond are still dark, but they are listening. Soon, the steps will return, but not yet. A cracked pot rests on a low table. Its surface shows lines not of damage, but of history. It once held lentils, then flour, then water from the flood. Now it holds nothing, but it holds it perfectly. It waits with dignity, like the land itself, quiet, purposeful, whole. The village well is touched by first light. The rope, still damp with dew, gleams faintly. The wooden bucket smells of earth and clay. No one has come to draw water yet, but the well is ready. It always is. Its depths are cool, its silence complete. Until the first drop falls, it listens. A young girl, wrapped in linen, lies curled beside a basket of herbs. Her mother left it there to dry. The scent has filled the room. Mint, fennel bay. She dreams of leaves falling like rain, covering the ground in soft green. She turns once in her sleep, nestling deeper into the scent. In dreams, even smells are stories. The moon has lowered now. The stars begin to fade, but the world holds still, not rushing into day, not fleeing the dark, just resting at the edge. Balance. The night, not yet gone. The morning, not yet here. It is a sacred space, a breath between worlds, and in that breath, peace remains. The Nile moves without sound, its current unchanged, its purpose unshaken. It glows with the light of something new and old. All at once, the boats still rock gently. Ropes stay tied, and dreams float beside the reeds. First light touches the tallest palms. Not bright, not sudden, just a soft golden edge. The fronds shimmer faintly, the kind of shimmer that can only be seen when eyes are still half closed. And in the village, no one rises yet. No footsteps fall, no water splashes, no voices call. Everything is still wrapped in the final layer of sleep. The sand along the path is cool. It remembers the night, each grain holding quiet. A scarab beetle crawls across a stone. Its shell glints, a slow pulse of reflected gold. It moves without hurry, as if it, too, is enjoying the pause before dawn. A hawk circles far above, silent, gliding on invisible winds. The air is still enough that its shadow passes across the roof of the temple, then across the ground, without a sound. Inside her home, Hennet opens her eyes. Not fully, just enough to notice the light has changed. Kepa is still asleep. She lets her hand rest lightly on his back, feeling the steady rise and fall. She watches dust float in a shaft of sunlight, so slow, so gentle, as if the light itself is whispering, "Not yet." So she stays, still, breathing with the morning dot. The potter, tucked into a woven mat, dreams of shapes, perfect curves, smooth rims, bowls that hold not just water, but comfort. His fingers twitch in sleep. They remember the wheel, the clay dot in his dream. The pots spin without effort, each one formed by wind, not hand, and they sing, softly, a song only potters know. A fig falls from a branch. It hits the ground with a soft thud. The sound echoes in no one's ears, but the earth feels it, and holds it gently. The tree stands quiet again, its roots deep, its branches wide, its shadow resting long across the village wall. At the edge of the grain fields, the dew begins to lift. The warmth of morning stirs beneath the soil. Wheat stalks sway slightly, not from wind, but from the breath of the land waking up. A bee buzzes past, just once, then vanishes into green dot. The world does not open all at once. It unfolds, layer by layer, soft as cloth. Dot. The priest rises with care. No rush, no noise. He kneels beside his mat, whispers a silent blessing, then stretches his arms toward the fading stars. He lights the first lamp of the day. Its flame is weak, but it grows. The light touches the feet of the statues, the base of the altar, the edge of the scroll shelf. Each thing reappears, not suddenly, but softly, as if returning from sleep. A rooster calls far in the distance. Once, then twice. The sound rolls over the rooftops, spreading like a ripple. A door creaks. A mat is folded. The first bucket is lowered into the well. But still, most of the village rests. They wait for the second breeze, the warmer one, the one that smells like bread. Hennet sits upright now. She does not speak. She listens. Kepa's breath has grown lighter. His body stirs. Soon he'll wake. He'll ask for water. He'll chase the cat. He'll point at the sun. But not yet. For now, he remains in the space between sleep and waking, the softest place, the safest place, and so does she. She lifts the curtain just a little, watches the morning slip into the street like steam from tea. She breathes it in, lets it fill her lungs, then settles back beside her son. The day can wait, a little longer, a few more heartbeats of quiet. This too is life. The Nile, steady and silver, reflects the growing light. A thin band of gold runs along its edge, where sun meets water, where dreams meet waking. Boats rest in shallow silence. Their ropes tug slightly with the current. Nothing strong, just a reminder. The river is always moving, but the world is not in a hurry to follow. Not yet. A young woman at the edge of the village leans out her doorway. Her hair is still unbound. She blinks once, twice, then closes her eyes again. She listens to the morning, not to the noise, but to the quiet between the sounds. The distant clink of a pot, the creak of a gate, the soft rhythm of someone sweeping a courtyard. She does not move yet. She only smiles. A cloth canopy stirs in the breeze. Its shadow stretches long across the street. A goat wanders into the light, pauses, then curls up near the wall to nap again. Its ears twitch once, then still. It knows there's time. Plenty of it. Time to rest, and time to rise. No need to choose just yet. In the bakery, the coals are being stirred. Slowly, deliberately. The smell of heat mixes with flour and ash. A flat board leans near the oven. Wheat dough, risen through the night, waits for its turn. Outside the door, the first customer has arrived. But he does not knock. He sits quietly on a bench, watching smoke rise into the sky. Even hunger, in this place, is patient. The potter wakes and rolls his shoulders. Clay dust falls from his arms like snow. He runs his fingers over yesterday's bowls, taps each one, listens for sound. A deep low ring means it's strong. He nods once, satisfied, but he does not begin work just yet. He fills a small cup with water, steps outside, and lets the sunlight warm his face. Hennet stands now. She stretches, arms high over her head, feet bare on cool stone. She steps to the window and opens the shutter fully. Light pours into the room. Not hot, not harsh, just enough. She moves slowly through her space, collecting bowls, folding linens, straightening what was already nearly perfect. It's not about order, it's about rhythm. Each task like a note in a song. Kepa rubs his eyes. He doesn't speak. He blinks at the morning light, then reaches for the jug beside his mat. Hennet helps him lift it. He drinks slowly, then leans against her, still half dreaming. Still in the space between. She hums a tune, one passed down from her mother, and her mother before that. The melody is older than the stones in the temple, and softer than the morning wind. In the temple, a gate swings open. Its hinges creak, but no one minds. The priest steps inside with bare feet. He sprinkles water across the floor, then lights a second flame. Smoke curls upward, carrying the scent of resin and salt. The statues remain silent, their painted eyes wide and still, but in the light, they seem less distant, more alive. He kneels, he prays, but softly, so softly only the gods can hear. A child runs down the alley barefoot, laughing quietly, her arms stretched like wings. A dog follows, tail wagging, tongue out. No one scolds, no one shouts. The world is still waking, and laughter is as gentle as footsteps now. The village begins to breathe differently, not faster, just fuller. The sun rises slowly, the Nile glistens wider, birds stretch their wings, shadows shift, and all of it is perfectly ordinary. And completely beautiful. The rooftops glow with soft light. Some are still shaded, some already kissed by the sun. A man carries a basket of dates to the market. He walks slowly, not from tiredness, but because there's no need to rush. The air smells of dust, fruit, and warmth. The day has not begun in full, but it has begun with care. On a bench near the temple gate, two elders sit in silence. They do not speak. They do not need to. They've shared this morning for years, watching shadows move across stone, listening to the world reappear. One of them chews a piece of dried fig. The other adjusts his sandals, and the sun continues to rise. Inside the weaving room, the loom makes its first sound of the day. Wooden beams creak, thread is pulled, cloth begins to form. Line by line, color by color, a pattern begins, born not from design, but from memory, from instinct, from a rhythm older than thought. The baker removes the first flatbread from the oven. Its surface is speckled with char. Its center is warm and soft. He breaks it with a quiet smile. Steam rises, carrying the scent of grain and ash. He tears off a piece, eats slowly, and offers the rest to a waiting child. The child says nothing, just smiles, and sits down to eat. The bread is still hot, the street still cool. Hennet pours water into a shallow basin. She washes her face, her hands, then wrings out a cloth. Kepa watches the water ripple, then dips his fingers in. His reflection breaks, reforms. He laughs. And in that laugh, a new day begins. The potter mixes fresh clay. The water is just right, not too warm, not too cold. His hands move in circles, smoothing, pressing, folding. Each motion is quiet, like kneading a thought into shape. He hums as he works a tune with no words, a rhythm that fits the morning. A breeze moves through the market. It lifts the edge of a linen canopy, rustles a handful of garlic bulbs in a basket, stirs the scent of honey and dust. Merchants arrange their goods, not loudly, just with care. They greet each other with nods, with smiles, with hands rested on shoulders. The day stretches ahead like an open road, and no one needs to run. The priest lights the third lamp, the final one. The temple is now bright with gold. Carvings glow, symbols shimmer. Time seems to pause. He places a sprig of myrrh on the altar, then steps back. There are no crowds, no voices, just stillness, and smoke, and morning. A fisherman steps into the river. The water wraps around his ankles, cool, clear, welcoming. He places his net into the current, waits. The river does not rush, nor does he. Above, a heron lifts off, its wings cut silently through the air. He watches it fly, then lowers his gaze, back to the water, back to the now, and the village, fully awake now, still feels like a dream, not because it is strange, but because it is so perfectly calm. So quietly alive, every movement gentle, every breath deep, every heartbeat steady. And though the day has come, a little part of the night remains, inside the walls, within the shadows, between the thoughts, a memory of rest, a thread of stillness, a place, always waiting, to return to. The sun is higher. Now, it touches the tops of every home. It glints across pottery, warms the reeds, and casts long shadows behind every step. But nothing is hurried. Nothing is loud. The day has started, yes, but softly. It is still a time for deep breaths, for gentle thoughts, for remembering dreams. Kepper holds a piece of flatbread in both hands. His fingers leave faint prints in the soft surface. He takes one bite, chews slowly, then looks at his mother. Henot brushes his cheek, then lifts him into her arms. They sit in the doorway, watching the dust sparkle in the air. A palm leaf waves back and forth in the distance. The sound is soft, like the whisper of sleep, lingering just behind the noise of the day. A woman braids her daughter's hair beside a window. The girl hums to herself. The woman's fingers move with care, twisting, folding, smoothing. Each braid is a line in a poem. Each tie is a quiet promise. Behind them, a clay jar cools in the shade. It sweats gently in the morning heat. The air is warm, but still kind. In the shade of the fig tree, an elder speaks to a child. His voice is low, slow, measured like footsteps. On stone, he tells her how the stars shift with the seasons, how the river changes its mind in the flood months, how even gods enjoy silence. The child listens, eyes wide, head resting on her hands. She may not remember the words, but she will remember the feeling. The baker smiles as he stacks his last loaves. Their golden tops shine in the sun. One of them cracks faintly, cooling in the air. He dusts flour from his hands. The day's first task is done, and already the world feels fuller. He stands in the doorway of his shop, looking out over the quiet street. There's no rush for what comes next. A priest walks the temple hallway once more. He checks the lamps, the offerings, the carved names on the wall. All is in balance. As it should be. He steps outside, into the full light of day, closes his eyes, for a moment, and smiles. Not at something new, but at everything familiar. Near the river, children toss pebbles into the shallows. The ripples dance, one after another. None of them try to win. None of them keep score. They simply watch the circles widen, fade, and vanish, and they laugh, not loud, just enough to keep the silence company. Hennet sweeps her doorstep. Kepper plays with a reed doll nearby. The sun creeps higher. She looks down the road, waves to a neighbor, then returns to the rhythm of her broom. Brush, pause, brush, pause, pause, pause. The dust lifts, catches the light, then falls. The fig tree gives one more fruit. It drops silently into the basket below. Its skin is smooth, its shape perfect. A woman picks it up, smells it, then sets it aside to share later. Small blessings, unnoticed by the world, but felt in the heart. The sun is overhead now. The village is wide awake. The fields call to the farmers. The river hums to the fishermen. The market sings to the merchants. Don't yet. Beneath it all, there is still the memory of night. Stillness remains, woven into every breath, every movement, every word spoken with care. Because in this village, this quiet piece of the world, rest is not the opposite of life. It is part of it. So, when you close your eyes again, whenever that may be, remember the silence of the temple, the softness of the sand, the breath of the Nile. You do not need to be in ancient Egypt to find peace. It lives in your stillness. It hums beneath your thoughts. It drifts across your pillow like a breeze at dusk. Sleep comes, not because you chase it, but because you remember how to receive it. And now, the story rests. The village fades. The light softens. Let go of the day. Let your thoughts stretch wide, like palm leaves in the sun. Wake. Whenever you wake, know that peace has waited here for you all along.